Hello and welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and it's time for some Gunpla news. I apologize if I'm laughing a little bit. I completely screwed up the first opening I did. Yeah, Gunpla News Day today. Really cool stuff to talk about, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Of course, there's really nothing else I could start with today but the awesome, fan-demanded 1/100 scale Gundam Barbatos. Now, Bandai's playing coy with this. They're not telling us what it is, but let's take a look at the pictures and see what we think. So, this is the kit. They're showing it in shadow. However, I have seen some brightened, digitally enhanced versions of the pictures. I'm going to throw them up on screen as I'm talking just to kind of give you a good idea of what we'll be getting. And I've heard a lot of talk about what this could be. Some ideas a little more sensible than others. I do not think this is a 2.0 for the high-res model. I also do not think that it would make any sense at all for them to make another no-grade 1/100 Gundam Barbatos. It is really obvious that this is a master grade Gundam Barbatos. Now, if this is true, this is amazing news. A lot of people are going to be really happy about this since IBO is a very, very popular series, but we didn't get a master grade for the lead Gundam. And that's actually a complaint I've had about a lot of recent Gundam shows. It kind of seems like since the first season of Thunderbolt, we just haven't gotten any new lead Gundam MGs. We didn't get a G-Self. We didn't get a Build Burning. We didn't get anything from that line at all, actually, like not even like Kamiki Burning or anything. We didn't get a 00 Diver. We didn't get a Atlas Gundam. We didn't get a Barbatos in any form. It's like they just don't do new lead Gundams anymore as master grades, and I think that's kind of a shame. But yeah, the kit looks awesome. We don't have any release info yet, but here's the really cool part. They're actually going to be revealing this in full, not at some Japanese model kit expo, not at some convention in Japan. This is going to be revealed in full at Anime Expo. Anime Expo in the US. This is really cool because I've actually I don't think I've ever seen them do this before. They've never really revealed new Gunpla at an American convention. I think that's really cool, and it speaks a lot about how much the US community has grown if they're willing to do things like that. I mean, that's not certainly something that I would have expected the Bandai of a few years ago to do. But the best part is, the Barbatos isn't even the only awesome fan-demanded 1/100 scale kit we're getting this year, because we're also getting a new high-res model. And this isn't just some random high-res model. This is I wouldn't say one of the most demanded Master Grade 2.0s, but it's definitely one that a lot of people have wanted for a long time. This is the high-res model God Gundam. There are a lot of G Gundam fans in the US. This show has a huge following. A lot of people love this show that aren't even really big Gundam fans. And for a long time, we've had a Master Grade God Gundam, and it was okay. It's actually pretty cool for the time. It did a lot of innovative things, like have a full inner frame. It had a lot of posability. It had a bunch of different option hands. It actually did a bunch of really, really clever things that you don't see a lot in older Master Grades. But at the end of the day, it was still a really old, kind of clunky, dated kit. And I'm hesitant to say too much about the design of it based off this one teaser image we have, because I've gotten burned in the past by getting really hyped for a kit based off the kind of Photoshop teaser image and then getting incredibly disappointed when they actually show off the kit. But based off this image we got here, it looks pretty sick. I am not a huge fan of G Gundam, but I'm probably going to find myself picking this up if the actual kit looks this good. And the cool big kits just keep rolling in. We got some awesome kits to talk about today, guys, because the next thing we have up on the chopping block is the high-grade Universal Sentry Penelope. Now, we've seen a very rough resin prototype of this kit before, but now we have it in full color and we have release info. So this is coming out in October. That's, you know, pretty reasonable, just a little bit before the movie, kind of to build up hype. The crazy part, though, this is a $75 kit. That's more than the Kshatriya. That's more than the Kshatriya Repaired. That's more than the Psycho Gundam. That is more than most Vercom Master Grades. I think. I'm almost positive that only a couple of Vercom Master Grades are more expensive than that. This is definitely one of the more expensive high grades, but it certainly earns its price point. This suit is absolutely huge. I believe it's somewhere in the 26, 28 meter range in the anime or in the novels. So I can't off the top of my head calculate like mentally what that's going to look like as a 1/144th kit, but it should be pretty big. You also got to remember that this kit is insanely bulky. This kit isn't just tall, it's wide and it's deep. Now, I'm not that familiar with this mobile suit, but from what I've seen of it, I think all of that extra stuff actually comes off and there's a smaller Gundam underneath it, and I think the other stuff turns into a flight unit. I'm not really sure. I'm actually not that familiar with the Hathaway's flash suits. Either way, hopefully there's going to be some really cool gimmicks on this kit that make it worth the price point. Man, I kind of feel bad for whatever Gunpla comes out in 2020, because with all this cool stuff we've been getting in 2019, there's no way what we're getting next year is going to top this. So if we can just kind of bring down the hype for a moment, kind of tune it down from an 11 to like let's tune it down to like a 5 or a 4. Because we're talking about something now that's not quite so cool. Let's talk about Bandai and how they handle the Gundam the Origin line in p-bandai kits. Because we all love p-bandai kits, don't we? So if you've been following Gundam the Origin for any amount of time, or at least the model kits, you will know that they have an annoying tendency to release kind of oddball random kits like a GM half cannon, or a Gundam local type that just looks like an RX-78 clone, or a GM Interceptor that doesn't include the fellow booster. And then a few months later, they'll release, you know, a heavy Gundam, a waterproof Gundam. They'll release a GM cannon. They'll release a Zaku cannon. They'll do all these cool things like the Act Zaku. All these really cool variants that a lot of people like that have really cool designs, but they'll do them as p-bandai kits. Well, bringing it back to the GM Interceptor, when that kit came out, it was just a purple GM recolor with a Robocop visor. It was about the most random, low-effort variant Bandai could have put out, and it made almost no sense at all for them to release it. I mean, with the Guard Custom, you get the cool shield. With the cannon, you got the shoulder cannon. The Sniper Custom's got all sorts of cool parts. But the Interceptor, it just doesn't have anything going for it other than purple. Well, Bandai is finally releasing the version of the GM Interceptor we should have gotten from the very beginning, the GM Interceptor with fellow booster. Now this add-on is basically inseparable from the GM Interceptor. This is pretty much the suit's whole identity. This is what makes it unique and makes it what it is. So it's kind of asinine that Bandai didn't make this the original version of the GM Interceptor. If I was in charge of Bandai, I would almost completely reverse what is and isn't p-bandai in the Origin line, because it really is one of the most ass-backwards things I've ever seen. And this also kind of sucks for the people who already bought a GM Interceptor, because in order to get this backpack, they'll have to buy a whole other Interceptor anyways, and then they'll just have a useless Interceptor body lying around. So I hope you like kit bashing. I think we should end this video on a slightly more positive note though, so let's talk about another cooler premium Bandai kit. Let's talk about the Master Grade GM Dominance Philip Hughes Custom. Now, I didn't know this was the thing because I only read the first volume of the Gundam Blue Destiny manga, because that's all that exists in English. Sorry, I got a little distracted there, thinking about all the manga we could read if people would just translate it. Anyways, I haven't read that far into the Blue Destiny manga, so I didn't know this was a thing, but I think this looks super cool. It's kind of funny, because when I first saw the GM Dominance Master Grade, the first one they did, I didn't even recognize it as the Dominance, because Blue Destiny was a manga, and of course, you know, being a manga, it was in black and white. And because it was in black and white, I kind of just mentally filled in the colors of the mobile suit in my head, and I kind of envisioned it as being black and gray, not blue and whitish gray. So it really surprised me when I saw that these were the actual canonical colors of the suit. Well, the Philip Hughes Custom is basically in the colors that I always thought the GM Dominance was in. This is basically how I imagined the suit would look if it was made into a model kit. And it looks fantastic. It actually reminds me a lot as well of the, I believe it's the Lido Wolf Custom GM Sniper 2, which we also got a Master Grade of, which looks really awesome as well. So the Philips Hughes GM Dominance isn't just a recolor, it does also add a pair of very cool Gatling gun units on the back. Now these can be stored on the backpack like you would expect with this type of weapon, but you can also separate them off, and they each have their own tripod stand, so they can be set up on their own alongside the Gundam. They're definitely reminding me of that, what was that build custom set we got back in Tri that had the Gatling gun, Giant Gatling, I think it was called. This is really reminding me a lot of that, but it is actually a whole new mold, so this isn't some kind of reused thing. And yeah, it looks really great. As you can see in front of you, I've had a Master Grade GM Dominance of my own for a very long time. I have held off on reviewing it. I'm not going to hold off on that any longer though, because I want to show you guys that kit. I want to build some hype for this kit. And really, it's just such a cool Master Grade, I can't not show it to you guys anymore. So yeah, look forward to that. That's about all I've got today for Gunpla News. Kind of a shorter episode, but with a lot of really cool stuff to mull over. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to leave a like. If you're new to Channel 2S, subscribe for Gundam news, Gundam reviews, all sorts of cool Gundam stuff. And as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.